Hi there, welcome to day 89 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and today we're talking about communication, of course, all this month, just one more day, right? And then we're switching gears into a new topic. I don't know if I've leaked it or not, but it's going to be something different. We're doing all the different areas of the life framework in different order this year, just kind of mix things up and make it a little more fun and educational, and actually test and tweak and see, is there a difference if we focus on different areas and aspects of our life at different times of the year, or does it not really matter? Is it just important that we spend some time emphasizing, growing, and focusing on each area and aspect of our life framework, part of our life, each part of our life, every single year? So the IDEANCE process is a process we came up with in January. It's a 7-step process to improve an area or aspect of our life, or to solve a problem, or to get over a roadblock or a hurdle, or something that's holding us up, a challenge that we're having in a certain area or aspect of our life. So with respect to communication, I picked personal brand, meaning lack of a personal brand. I've been online since 2018 actually, and I have yet to create my own consistent across all platforms personal brand, right? I show on different platforms, depending on where I was in my business journey, my online specific business journey, because I've been in business since the 1970s, right? The 1970s. Oh my God. I was just a teenager, but that's when I got involved in businesses. So every year we create a process that we're going to use. And we do that because we want to learn how to create processes, number one, that work for us. We want to have processes that are for us, or we take and build on someone else's process or tools and make them our own. Because until we make them our own, we don't embrace them. Until we embrace them and use them and practice them, we don't have them at our fingertips like we need. We need a whole toolbox of things to help us make our lives less chaotic, simpler, easier, more fun, and more rewarding, so we can get what we want in life. So the IDEANCE process, we're on step 7 today, the last of the steps in our process, and that is to educate, to share and teach what it is that we've learned, what it is that we're knowing, what it is that we're learning as we are on this journey, this big old journey called life. So we'll do this process for each area and aspect of our life. I'm sharing Shannon's story. She volunteered. I asked her nicely, I guess. She volunteered to let us share her story as she goes through the challenge with us and as she implements the SOAP framework every month on each different area and aspect of her life. I don't think we're going to do her SOAP every month, but for sure we're going to use her story for every one of the 9 life framework areas as we go through the annual challenge. This month, communication, we've been sharing her story. Last month, we shared confidence. We shared her IDEANCE framework and how she worked through this process or framework. And we're going to do it because she said she would let us. And a lot of times people don't want to share their stories, right? They don't want to share things that they don't think they're great at. But guess what? In learning and growing and overcoming things, that's where our greatest lessons learned are. That's where our greatest ahas, that's where our greatest epiphanies are. And that's the things that we can demonstrate and show to other people. How if we overcome challenges, it's one of the greatest things you can show other people and teach other people and share. And that's what today's step is all about. One of the best ways to reinforce learning and reinforce understanding and have more aha moments about implementation and how you've used certain things in your life is by teaching and educating and sharing them with other people. So Shannon decided there's a couple of ways she can share what she's learning as she's working on becoming a better public speaker, a continually improving better public speaker. And I need a magnifying glass. She is hosting a workshop on mastering public speaking. She is also creating a video series on overcoming speaking fears. And she's offering coaching sessions to help others build confidence in their communication and their ability to speak publicly. So those are 3 things that she is doing. So our challenge today is to ask yourself, who can I teach about what I'm learning in the challenge or with respect to communication and the area of communication specifically that we're improving? So I'm going to create my personal brand. I'm going to figure it out. And then I will probably do a quick workshop on it to teach other people what I did. Not how to do it, well, how to do it, but each and every one of us has our own process for coming about this. If I thought it was easy, and I know tons of people teach it and share it, but if you ever take a course, and I just took one a challenge, a 4-day challenge on it last week, and came out and didn't, of course, buy their high ticket offer, because the thing I went there for was, how do I clearly create my personal brand? And there was none of that in this challenge. Zero. Zilch. None of it. It was about creating content, but you don't create content theoretically until you have your personal brand. Now, I've created a whole lot of content without a personal brand. So you don't have to have a personal brand, but if we don't create it for ourselves, our audience and the people that hear and see us from all walks of life that we're not being specific about will create it for us. And it might not be the brand we want. Like Pajama Grandma was the one I originally started with, and I abandoned her in 2020. I feel bad, but I wanted to let it go for my Pajama Grandma brand for about a year, and I never got around to it. And then the pandemic hit, and it didn't feel like the right time to kill off Pajama Grandma and the brand. So I just kind of let it slip away, and we started doing monthly, every other month challenges to get up and go and keep us moving through the pandemic. So switch gears, but never really gave it up. Like if you look for my podcast on a lot of platforms, it's Pajama Grandma Podcast, and everybody's like, what the heck is that? Right? So we need to switch gears. I need to switch gears in order to stay in alignment with who I am. All right. That's all I've got today. If you have any questions about this, if you have any questions about the IDEANCE process at all, we're going to do a Q&A tomorrow. I am traveling tomorrow bright and early, so we are doing a Q&A before we launch as a final day of March. Plus, it's the end of a quarter, so it's a great time to check in and say, all right, how are we doing? How are we feeling? What's working? What's not working? How can I help you? What would be better way of communicating and serving you than what I've been doing so far, right? And if you have any comments about my personal brand, you can ask questions about that or give me feedback about that as well, and ideas. All right, that's it. Have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, ask. It's going to be a busy one. I got a leak in my basement that I just discovered. I have no idea where it's coming from, so I got to problem solve that today and pack after my kids come home for the granddaughters. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, speak to you tomorrow. Bye.